But what I really wanted to get at was the complexity of the shooting, and how much of it is what we need as gun regulation, and how much of it is like a mental health issue that we need. Now go.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? All this seems kind of sus. A lot of this seems suspect. It seems too close and parallel to what we've seen with Sandy Hook. I'm not saying that the shooting is fake or you know that these kids didn't die. There's a lot of things that are really fucked up about this. What I do think happened was the FBI and the feds knew about this guy. I don't have a tinfoil hat. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do here.
No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the both of us.
Okay. All right. So I got a bottle on my head.
Why is that water and you're at a bar?
I always carry water with me. Jay, you never know when you need water.
Well, you need to be drinking, not water.
Well, no, this is. I'm holding on to this for my wife, for Emily, in case she's thirsty.
I doubt it because you're more of a bitch than she is. Like, not bitch. I'm sorry, not bitch. Not bitch. Like
holding on to
like pussy. Like pussy. Like you're more of a pussy than she is.
Well, yeah. I mean, yes. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I'll hydrate. Okay. Here's what I think, Jay. Here's what I think. Okay.
Tell me.
I think the FBI knew about this guy, and instead of doing something about it, I think they basically turned him loose. Instead of they had the opportunity to stop this guy, but they didn't.
Yeah, kind of like knowing about you and monkeypox.
No, I mean, like, it also,
they could have stopped you from spreading it, but
they
did nothing.
What's it called? The Parkland shooter. The Parkland shooter they knew about, and they didn't do anything. This one seems a little bit more insidious, a little bit more nefarious, because, like, all the reports I'm seeing come out, like, it sounds like at that point, are we dealing with incompetence, or are we dealing with, like, is this shit almost intentional?
No, I think it's
wondering. That's what's so scary. That's what's so scary about this.
It is. But I mean, and either view is pretty scary, because thinking of them as being like very incompetent is kind of worrisome, and thinking of it being intentional is very, very, very worrisome. But
right. Oh no, they're both terrible outcomes, Jay.
They are.
I can't even
they are. I'm with you with that.
Whether
if
it's incompetence, at least you could chalk it up to being like, well, you know, at least the authorities, like, they had the right intentions of catching this guy and stopping him. And either he was like too evasive or eluded them in some way, shape, or form. But when you get to and you think about the other likelihood, the one that's obviously far more insidious and one that's obviously more scary, is that there's some like intentional plan behind all of this. I'm not obviously trying to get too Alex Jones on here, because Alex Jones went way beyond anything necessary when Sandy Hook happened. He said, all these people were crisis actors. Like, no, you can't. That doesn't fly.
That's not what we're saying here, or even getting at.
Like, this shit actually happened.
Yes, it did, and same thing with Sandy Hook and stuff. And what we're getting at is completely different than whatever the fuck Alex Jones was trying to get at. But I think
Alex Jones completely fucked. He completely fucked it up.
He did, and it's very, very, very much incompetence and laziness. That's what it is. It's very much incompetence and laziness.
Like, it's 2022. These law enforcement agencies have basically established a police state over the entire country. They literally had to invent terrorists after 9/11 through entrapment in order to say that they were catching terrorists. Like, I'm just saying, our law enforcement is mighty capable of doing, being able to catch bad guys. Look, they stopped ISIS from assassinating George W. Bush, and that may be like low bar right there, but ISIS has carried out plenty of terrorist attacks, far more scary, and far more unnerving than what this alleged plot against George W. Bush was going to be. All I'm saying is that the way that I've seen law enforcement over the last like 20 years, the stories I'm seeing coming out, I hope they're wrong, because what they're telling me now is that they either had to be incredibly incompetent, or the other likelihood, which I said before, they intentionally did nothing.
They didn't look. A lot of the time these are like known wolves. These are known people to the
Yeah.
authorities. They're known for a lot of this stuff. And it was like I was saying before, when you're coming on, come is there should be more, like, in my opinion, there needs to be a hell of a lot more help to the mental crisis we're seeing, especially when it comes to young men and young women. And we need better barriers to entry when it comes to owning
But
weapons, I
Jay,
think, owning guns.
my only
But there is
pushback on this,
there's no
look,
real law that would have stopped him to get it. Like universal background checks wouldn't have stopped him. Red flags wouldn't have really stopped
yeah,
him
you and I both
unless he
know
was
that a
like
lot of
red
the laws
flag.
in place. You and I both know that a lot of the laws in place would not have stopped anything like this. And
They
any
wouldn't.
of the laws that they're suggesting would not have stopped something like this.
No, it wouldn't. You know what would have stopped it? Better security at the school, not having an unlocked back door to allow them to go in.
That's what's
That's
right,
only
so,
for my tongue. And
okay. I'm just amazed. Okay, look, I don't know what the situation at Robb Elementary School was like, because we live in a post Sandy Hook world. Okay, we already understand that we live in a world where these horrific shootings can happen, and the victims could be as young as 5, as we've seen at Sandy Hook. So what I'm trying to say is, what the fuck happened at this elementary school that made it possible for this shooter to go in and kill as many people as he did? Like, you and I mean, we were only partly through grade school when Columbine happened. We were like maybe fifth and sixth grade.
yeah,
So the whole implementation of like these school lockdowns, these active shooter lockdowns, it's not new to them. It's not like they are well aware that like there are protocols in place for when an active shooter comes into their campus. And so what I want to know is, if they didn't have security, why the fuck not? And if they did, I look, I we're just left with more questions than answers, Jay. I don't know what to say about it.
no, I mean, and that's when events like this happen. There's a lot of questions that you want to ask in order to try and find a solution. You have to ask these questions. You have to ask things like, why is security so lax at elementary and high schools and stuff? Why is it that this person is known by police and he was able to get there and be there for like an hour shooting kids before any action was done? And another question is like, how can we send billions of dollars of aid or like hundreds of millions of dollars to school safety for fucking shit like COVID that does nothing? COVID, the COVID deaths for kids and all that kind of stuff is like so detrimental in comparison to everything else that happens with children, that we can't act when it comes to something like this. And you know why? Because a lot of it doesn't line the pockets of politicians.
Well, yeah, it's like Jay. It's like all those things that we've seen about every single issue in Washington. A lot of these issues will never get fixed because politicians basically lose leverage with voters. It's just like with any issue. If you make it your entire fight to be about this particular issue and then you finally succeed, then you risk becoming irrelevant.
Right.
You risk becoming irrelevant, and when that happens, you risk losing power. You have to find new issues to be not mad about, but like new issues to identify. And I just find it amazing that, like, it just seems, just the timing of this all seems weird. Like, like on Twitter, all of the talking points were recycled. No one has been engaging in any of the political discourse. In fact, most people have been disengaging from it because we know it's obviously not it's not moving the needle on anything. And
Right.
when that happens, you start to think, well, what is it going to take really to get, like, how horrific of a shooting needs to happen in order for like gun control legislation to get passed through. And that's when I start to like think the worst of the worst, and that is, well, shit, like maybe like all of this is by design. Maybe this is something that, while it did happen and it was obviously
For legal
tragedy,
reasons, I'm putting on
I know where you're putting
the
it on.
tinfoil hat for
I'm
legal
just
reasons.
trying to like tie it all together, Jay. These are all data points.
That's what
I'm
it
just
is.
saying, Jay,
That's
I'm
what
just
it
saying
is.
that there are all these data points and just something feels off, okay? That's all I'm saying. Something feels off about this.
No,
Like more
I'm
off than usual. Like, you obviously, Jay, you and I are the same age. We've been around long enough to know, like, when something happens organically and it's terrible and there's like a time of unity and people come together. Like, there's been none of that. Absolutely none of that. I don't know if it's because of the environment we're living in
right.
or what, but it is
I think you hit it on the head. It's really the environment, because everybody is like really just talking over each other when it comes to this. Like, nobody wants to hear,
like
like,
Beto
nobody
O'Rourke.
on
Jay,
one
what
side.
the
Nobody.
fuck is that furry doing?
No.
Standing up to fucking Greg the Tank Man Abbott.
And it was just a normal press conference in talking about the facts on what happened. But to your point, the reason why there's a lot of things that are not happening is because everybody's just talking over each other. People who want to talk about gun legislation do not want to hear anything about mental illness, and people who want to talk about mental illness want nothing to do with talking about gun legislation. But this right here that came out from Barack Obama, I don't know if you've seen this tweet, is absolutely like insane. So this is what it says. Hear me out. Barack Obama tweeted out, "As we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years ago have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us to this day, especially those who loved him." What the actual fuck? What is this?
Hold up,
What
Jake. Can you send him a tip for me?
A tip? Oh, you want me to send him? Oh, a tip. Right
Yeah,
here.
send him a tip of 69 cents. And that's for him licking my balls last night.
This motherfucking piece of fucking garbage. Like, I do not understand where the fuck this has to do with anything that happened. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, people are not really going in and wanting to talk about this
Jay,
realistically. And I think this is the first time.
We gotta list that shit. We have to list that shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think this is the first time that it's happened. The retweets versus quote tweet ratio that's going on right now. on a Barack Obama tweet. He's getting ratioed.
Wow. I can't believe that, man. That is just like, it's not the worst tweet I've ever seen,
Over this?
but for Obama
Absolutely.
standards, like, that's pretty fucking bad.
No, this is absolute fucking garbage. This is horseshit. This is absolute garbage horseshit. What the fuck is this?
Man.
But yeah, we're definitely listing this piece of fucking garbage.
Huh? What was that?
I said we're definitely listing this piece of fucking garbage.
Oh, okay. I thought you said we're listening to some garbage, which I thought was interesting because I don't know. I actually don't know what song came on the radio at the bar.
Habibi.